Before Anika Nilles became the drummer everyone was talking about in connection with Rush, she was just a young girl growing up in Germany with an unusual obsession: drums. Born on May 29, 1983 in Aschaffenburg, Germany, Anika was surrounded by rhythm from the very beginning. Music wasn't just a hobby in her family, it was practically part of their DNA. Her father, two uncles, and a cousin were all drummers, creating an environment where drumsticks and drum kits were as common as furniture. Most kids spend their early years playing with toys, but Anika was fascinated by the sound of drums. According to interviews she has given over the years, she started playing at just 6 years old after her father noticed her growing interest in rhythm and began teaching her basic grooves. Those early lessons would eventually become the foundation for a career that few could have imagined. But unlike many future music stars, Anika's road to success wasn't immediate. There were no major record deals, no viral fame, and no promises of a professional music career. Instead, she spent years quietly developing her skills while learning the discipline and dedication that would later separate her from thousands of other talented drummers around the world. Little did she know that these early experiences would set her on a path toward one of the most surprising opportunities in rock history. As Anika entered her teenage years, her passion for drumming only grew stronger. While many young musicians dream about fame, Anika became obsessed with mastering the craft itself. She spent countless hours practicing, studying rhythms, and learning how different drummers approached the instrument. After finishing school, she faced a decision that many aspiring musicians know all too well. Should she follow a traditional career path or take a chance on music? For Anika, the answer became clear. She enrolled at the prestigious Drummers Institute in Düsseldorf, Germany, where she immersed herself in professional music education. Even with formal training, success didn't come overnight. The music industry is filled with talented performers, and standing out requires more than technical skill. During these years, Anika played with various bands and worked on different musical projects, constantly refining her style. What made her unique wasn't just speed or power, it was her creativity. She developed an approach that blended complex rhythms with grooves that felt natural and musical. Friends and fellow musicians began noticing that she wasn't trying to imitate famous drummers. Instead, she was creating a sound that was unmistakably her own. That originality would soon become her greatest asset, although the rest of the world had no idea who she was yet. The breakthrough that would change everything was still years away, but the groundwork was already being laid. By the early 2010s, Anika Nilles had become a highly skilled drummer, but like many musicians, she was still searching for a larger audience. Then she made a decision that would completely transform her career. She started uploading drumming videos to YouTube. At first, the videos were simply a way to showcase her ideas and connect with other musicians, but there was something different about what viewers were seeing. Instead of posting standard drum covers of famous songs, Anika created original compositions and grooves that highlighted her unique style. Her playing combined technical complexity with an infectious sense of feel, making even non-drummers stop and pay attention. One video after another began attracting thousands of views. Then thousands turned into hundreds of thousands. Soon, drummers from around the world were sharing her performances across social media. Industry professionals started taking notice as well. Musicians were amazed by her precision, creativity, and ability to make difficult rhythms look effortless. What made the rise even more remarkable was that it happened organically. There was no major label promoting her and no expensive marketing campaign behind her success. Her talent was doing all the talking. Videos such as Wild Boy and other original performances became fan favorites, helping establish her reputation as one of the most exciting drummers of her generation. For the first time, Anika was no longer just a respected musician in Germany. She was becoming an international phenomenon. As Anika's online popularity exploded, opportunities began arriving from every direction. Drum manufacturers, music companies, and major industry figures wanted to work with the drummer who was captivating audiences around the world. What started as a few YouTube uploads had evolved into a full-time international career. She began appearing at drum festivals and music conventions across Europe, North America, and Asia. These events allowed fans to see in person what they had been watching online for years. The response was overwhelming. Audiences were amazed not only by her technical ability, but also by her personality and teaching style. Unlike some musicians who seem unreachable, Anika had a way of making complex concepts feel understandable and exciting. During this period, she also formed her own band and released original music, proving she was much more than a social media sensation. Albums and live performances showcased her abilities as a composer and bandleader. Critics praised her fresh approach to modern drumming, while fellow musicians admired her willingness to push creative boundaries. The accolades kept coming. Major drumming magazines featured her. Industry awards followed. Many experts began describing her as one of the most influential drummers of the modern era. Yet despite all the recognition, few people could have predicted the opportunity that was waiting just around the corner. Then, one of the most legendary names in rock music entered the conversation: Rush. For decades, Rush had been defined by three legendary musicians: bassist and vocalist Geddy Lee, guitarist Alex Lifeson, and drummer Neil Peart. To many fans, the chemistry between the three was irreplaceable. When Neil Peart passed away in 2020, most people assumed the story of Rush had reached its final chapter. Meanwhile, Anika Nilles continued building her reputation as one of the most respected drummers in the world. Her performances attracted millions of views online, and her influence within the drumming community continued to grow. She had earned the respect of professionals, educators, and fans alike. Then rumors and discussions began circulating among Rush fans. As Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson started appearing together again at special events and performances, people naturally wondered what a future collaboration might look like. One name that repeatedly surfaced in fan conversations was Anika Nilles. Why? Because she possessed qualities that many believed would be essential for stepping into any Rush-related project. She had extraordinary technical ability, a deep understanding of complex rhythms, and perhaps most importantly, her own musical identity. Rather than trying to imitate Neil Peart, Anika had spent years creating a style that was uniquely hers. That distinction became a major talking point. Supporters argued that Rush would need someone capable of honoring the music while bringing a fresh perspective. Critics questioned whether anyone could ever fill the enormous void left by Peart. The debate was only beginning, and Anika suddenly found herself at the center of one of rock music's biggest discussions. Looking back, the most remarkable part of Anika Nilles' story is how unlikely it all seems. Long before her name was linked to Rush, she was simply a young drummer in Germany, learning from her family, practicing for countless hours, and chasing a dream with no guarantees of success. Her rise wasn't built on controversy, celebrity connections, or overnight fame. It was built on years of dedication, creativity, and a relentless commitment to improving her craft. From studying music professionally to uploading videos that would eventually reach millions of viewers, every step of her journey was earned through hard work. What makes Anika's story especially fascinating is that she became a global drumming star without following the traditional path most musicians take. She didn't wait for the music industry to discover her. Instead, she created her own opportunities, built her own audience, and proved that talent, combined with persistence, can open doors that once seemed impossible. Today, whether fans support or oppose the idea of her involvement in any Rush-related project, one thing is undeniable. Anika Nilles has earned her place among the most respected drummers of her generation. Her influence extends far beyond social media views or industry awards. She has inspired countless young musicians to think creatively, develop their own voice, and challenge conventional expectations. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson from her journey. Before the debates, before the headlines, and before Rush fans around the world began discussing her name, Anika Nilles was already building a legacy of her own. The untold story of Anika Nilles before Rush changed her life isn't really a story about luck. It's a story about preparation meeting opportunity. It's about a young girl who fell in love with drumming, stayed committed to her passion, and eventually became one of the most talked about musicians in modern rock. No matter what the future holds, her journey proves that sometimes the most extraordinary success stories begin in the most ordinary places.